Hey everybody, it's exciting interview here. Marcus with Chasing a Cup. I've got a special guest in Josh Wynder. Josh is a 17-year-old center back for LouCity. LouCity's in first place for those of you that don't follow in the USL Eastern Conference. They're on a record-setting pace defensively. They have extremely strong pedigree for winning. They've been in the Eastern Conference final every year they've existed for the last 8 years. They've got 12 clean sheets this season, number one defense in the league, and this past weekend shut down the number one offense, held them to 0 shots over the weekend. So it was very exciting. And Josh has contributed on both sides. Defensively, he's also scored a penalty in the U.S. Open Cup winner. He also scored a header against Birmingham, so helped LouCity stay in first place with a 2-1 victory there. He's also captained the youth national team, the U19s, as a 17-year-old in a win over England, and then followed that up, stepping in. I think it was a 3-0 win over Norway. And then, even just this morning, former Stoke City executive compared him to a young Virgil van Dijk. A USL executive now, former Stoke. So welcome, Josh. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. This keeping you humble to start the conversation here.
Always.
Yeah. So how are you doing, man? How's your week going? I know this past weekend was extremely exciting. Unfortunately, due to the injury, didn't get to play. But can you walk us through kind of how was the atmosphere? How was it in the locker room? What was that experience like this past weekend with 15,000 there at LouCity?
No, it was awesome having all those fans come out. Like, we played great, obviously, but now we're just trying to keep the momentum going into this weekend.
Absolutely. So you're back training. Do you think we might see some action this week?
Probably not this weekend, but hopefully.
Yeah. No, it takes some time for sure. So you're from Louisville. You got family here. You said you're rooming with Elijah, your brother, who's also at the club. How has that helped you in your experience? Having family close by, being in your hometown, has that helped you in your development process? Has it made it challenging? What's that been like?
No, I think it's definitely helpful, like, to have your family close, especially at a young age. Like, if I ever have any problems or anything, like, I can obviously go home if I need to. And they're also at every home game, like my family's and friends. So it's kind of perfect, to be honest.
That's awesome. Do they sit in the same spot? Like, where to look,
Yeah, always.
That's cool. Your brother being on the club, having family there, how has that challenge you, like in your development process? Like, obviously you're close with your brother and you guys came to the club together. How have you guys helped each other?
No, it's definitely helpful. Like, we always pushed each other at a young age. So to be able to do it at a professional level is a great feeling.
That's good. As a father of 2 young boys, I'm hopeful they'll be as competitive. I know they're as competitive as you guys, but hopefully be able to, spur each other on as well.
Of course.
So take us back a year ago. You're barely 16. Most people are thinking about, maybe getting their license or something like that. Coach Cruz, Louisville City, come to you and they're like, hey, we need a starting center back. What was that experience like? How did they approach you? How did they bring you along there?
No, it was awesome. I mean, I started training with the first team, like, just once or twice a week, like, just trying to do my best and learn from the pros. And then finally signed my academy contract and then just kept working and I kept my head down. And now that's what got me here.
Yeah. How has that been, like your professional life? You're 16, 17 now. How has that impacted your life to switch gears to the professional world?
No, it's definitely a tough switch, but also I had help along the way. Like, I could look up to Elijah. Obviously, last year, Jonathan Gomez helped me a lot. And this year, just keeping on doing the same thing with the first team players helped me out.
Yeah, no, that's great. What what has that been like with the first team players? What senior players have kind of taken you under their wing? How has that helped you in your professional career?
No, there's a couple, but like the biggest ones are Paulo Del Piccolo, Amadou Dia. Most of them just keep pushing me every day to be the best player in person, on and off the field.
Yeah. Who gives you the most trouble in practice?
Everyone tries. They try.
Man, I feel like Garden Ownby, even in practice, he seems like a guy that just does not have a lower gear. He's just kind of pushing. He'd be a lot of fun to work against, but challenging.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely challenges me.
Yeah. So who's one of your favorite players, switching gears a little bit, like the U.S. national team? Do you have a favorite player on the team right now?
I kind of try to look at my position. So Walker Zimmerman, like just players like that are in my position, I kind of look up to.
Okay. Yeah. Have you talked to Walker at all? Have you ever connected with him or any of the senior team players?
Yeah, when we played against Nashville, I got to talk to him for a bit.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I know you're a little younger, but curious, historically, are there any U.S. center backs like you would love to have seen yourself paired with, in all of U.S. history?
I mean, there's not many I can think of right now, but there's
Yeah.
definitely like watching when I was younger. There's plenty of players. I didn't know I was gonna be a center back, so I didn't really think like that. But
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. What about now? Who do you see yourself as Walker? One of those guys you'd love to kind of stand up next to?
yeah, I would love to play alongside him or honestly any other center back if I get my opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. Chris Richards is come along there at Crystal Palace. Be interesting to see how the season goes for him.
For sure.
You watch a lot of those guys overseas?
Yeah, I try to watch like the players I could be comparing myself like looking up to all the
Sure,
time.
sure. What so we saw that you were the captain of the U19. What was that experience like? Obviously you're 17 and you step into a little bit older age group and then they hand you that band. What did that mean for you? What was that like?
No, it's a great feeling. It shows that how the players have helped me develop here is obviously translating into the national team now. So it was awesome to go there and see all the kids are my age, all there for the same reason, like pushing each other, just like it is here, which is an awesome thing to see.
Yeah. Any standout, like who was the goofiest guy or funniest guy, amongst the youth national team?
Alex Freeman from Orlando,
Okay.
he's a clown. It's so he's
That's awesome. Who was like all business, like just came there tough in practice, just going at it 24/7.
To be honest, there weren't really many like really serious people. Like we all got along very well and like
That's
vibed
awesome.
with each other.
That's cool. That's cool. Who's a standout player, amongst all those kind of, all of your youth nationals? There's somebody nobody's talking about that there really should be. Is there a young player that you think, more people should be talking about?
I'd say there's a couple, but one that stood out for me was Brooklyn Reigns. He plays
Okay.
for Houston.
Okay.
He's a really good player.
Yeah, yeah. I've been keeping an eye on him. I've heard good things. That's
Yeah.
good to hear. How do you evaluate yourself? What do you think your strengths, your weaknesses, how do you look at yourself as a center back and say, here's what I'm good at and here's where I could grow?
I mean, I'd say I could go in all areas. So, like, if it's working with my left foot, like aerial duels, whatever it is. But I'd like to say I'm a good ball playing center back because I used to play in the midfield. But now it's just working on every step of my like game to make it better.
Yeah, I've seen you step up a couple times and I've seen you down there by Ownby a couple times when you got pretty excited. Do your coaches get on you a little bit about, one, kind of pushing you to push forward and then maybe two, sort of like balancing that with responsibilities?
Yeah, for sure. We just gotta make sure there's balance at all times, especially if I'm going up. Just make sure that people behind me know what's
That's it.
happening. You know?
That's it. Oh, you got Gibby and some other good guys in the center there can drop in.
Yes, sir.
Um, so we've heard some noise, some rumors. Maybe you were visiting Portugal. I'm curious. Are European clubs? Do you hear about it? Are they reaching out to the club? They're reaching out to you. What's that experience like, and how's that been?
I try to just keep the noise out. Like I just try to focus on the next day, next training, or whatever it is. So I try not to hear all that stuff. Like that all will come with time. So
Sure, sure. Do you get invitations from time to time to kind of come check out stuff, and they stay in touch and all that, or is that mostly happen through the club?
that mostly happens through the club and my agent. I try
Yeah,
not to
yeah,
hear it
that's
all.
good. That's good. You said you stay in touch with Jogo. Has that been helpful to kind of watch his journey, kind of a couple steps ahead over the last year?
Oh yeah, for sure. For him being like a couple steps ahead is perfect. So I can talk to him when I'm get to the step that he just left. And he's
Absolutely.
helped me along the way for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, he was just in town a couple months back coming to visit. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that he does that and stay connected to the club. That's good.
Cool.
That's good. What's your take on USL as like a potential path to Europe? Obviously Jogo's done it. There's been a couple other guys have done it. Is that something that was sort of always on your radar? Wanting to go to Europe and thinking that LouCity was a realistic path there.
Yeah, no, my dream was to go to Europe. So once I started playing LouCity, I didn't exactly know that was a step to Europe until Jogo did it. But after Jogo did, like that was kind of my plan in my head.
Yeah, yeah. Did they talk that up a lot? at the club? I mean, is that sort of that atmosphere, that potential for the academy to go to Europe? Is that something that you're hearing a lot more noise about since Jogo went?
I wouldn't say that's really the hype. I think it's first, like, they just take a step at a time. Like, first
Sure.
you got to get into the first team, and then wherever it is from there, like, everyone has a different path.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Absolutely. You keep an eye on him. I know he's been working his way up, trying to break in first team as well. You give him a hard time?
We stay joking on each other, but no, we talk all the time.
No, that's good. That's good. Um, how, as you think about maybe the next stage, so say, you're getting closer to, European interests, how are you going to evaluate which club to go to? Is it coach? Is it style of play? Is it opportunity in the depth chart? Have you thought, down that pathway, what could that look like? And what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I tried to keep it out a little bit, but I've definitely thought about it like everyone would. But I say it's just the best fit for me. Whatever, like, it's not just on the field, like, it's what happens off the field, which is important to me. So whatever is the best fit for me, that's where I'll probably end up.
Yeah. How do you evaluate fit? What does that look like? And what are some of the check marks? You're like, this looks a little messy, or, that kind of thing.
I just say probably the locker room environment, like
Sure.
the coach environment, like all of that stuff. And then off the field, like where I'd be staying,
Yeah.
like if my family would be able to visit often, whatever it is.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Is there a league that, you kind of have an eye on? They're like, man, this is the club, this is the dream, or is like, is any of that on your radar yet?
Not really. I'm just trying to take a step at a time, like I said earlier.
Yeah. So whoever calls, whoever has the best fit, start there, and then, dream. Do you have a favorite club over in Europe?
Chelsea's my favorite team.
Okay. Is that always been, or did Pulisic influence that?
No, it's been for a while,
That's cool.
but he
So
definitely helped me.
yeah. So I mean, we're seeing Richards break in. We're seeing, Premier League becoming, obviously the guys at Leeds, Adams and others. I think the Premier League is definitely an attainable spot. Is that something that kind of in the back of your mind, like maybe one day, wearing some Chelsea blue?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, that's every kid's dream to, like, they grow up watching the Premier League. To be playing in the Premier League would be amazing, honestly.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, no, it'd be great. I like to ask this, especially of young U.S. players. If Greg Berhalter picks up the phone and calls you, what's your case to be made? If he says, "Hey, I might have a spot for you," and you want to make an argument of why you can make the team or make a difference, what would you tell him about why he should pick you?
I mean, honestly, you can look at the soccer side of it, but the person has to be a good fit for the team. So whatever it is, like, I say I'm very, very good at adapting, like, to whatever the situation is. So, I mean, I feel like that's one of my best qualities.
Yeah, no, for sure. Who do you think's the best center back in the world right now? Who's somebody you like are watching, aspiring to?
This is gonna sound ironic, but Van Dijk, honestly,
Yeah.
he's such a good center back.
Yeah. What do you like about his game? What's something that you want to try and bring into yours?
Nah, he's just a beast. Like, he wins every header that he goes up for. So
Yeah,
that'd definitely be one of my things I'm trying to work towards.
for sure. What does LouCity point out? What's maybe a key area that they want you to develop on, going into the back half of the season, knowing that you guys are in first place, going to make a run at the playoffs. What's something that they're really harping on you, trying to get you to figure out this season?
I just got to develop my body more. Like, I'm in the gym every day. So just trying to go into my body is honestly the biggest thing right now.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine, at that level, some of those guys, like we talked about Ownby, but there's a bunch of beasts around the league. Who's somebody that's been tough this season on you physically, to guard?
Probably Versailles from San Diego.
Okay.
I mean, you can just look at him and tell he's a beast.
Yeah. Very cool. Last one, if you went overseas internationally, what's a player that you would probably be starstruck by, if you ran into them, or somebody that you hope to play against, on the offensive side of the ball, somebody that you look forward to facing?
I mean, age realistic, Mbappe is probably one of the players that, I mean, he would be so hard to defend, but it would be
Yeah.
a dream to play against him.
That's awesome. Well, Josh, man, I appreciate it so much for the time. It was good chatting with you, and look forward to getting this out so the fans can learn a little bit more about you, and look forward to watching the rest of the season. Hopefully you'll heal up that ankle here soon and be back out on the pitch, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was good knocking it around.